Alright, hey, what's up everybody, GratuiTous here, and welcome to my newest course teaching you guys how to play the piano as a beat maker. I'll tell you right now, if you guys are trying to learn the piano by searching on YouTube, and learning like classical piano, you guys are learning the wrong way. As a beat maker, what you're wanting to learn is improvisation and creating catchy loops. That's all we need to know as beat makers. But in order to create these catchy loops and in order to improvise, you have to know the general concepts of how a piano works in a sense of keys and scales, what notes you're allowed to play, what chords you're allowed to play, how these notes and chords kind of integrate. Okay, once that stuff is revealed to you, then it is up to you to practice, to build muscle memory so that you can continue and improve off of your different melodies, right? So, when you go to make your beat, you start with, like, let's say your piano, then you might add a guitar. Now you have a lead. Now, in order to add that lead over top of your other two instruments, you have to know what notes you are allowed to play, okay? And this is what I teach inside of this course. Now, I just want to let you guys know, I released this piano course many years back, but since I've continued to do these courses, I have acquired all this higher end gear, video production gear. You can see on here if I hit some keys and stuff. So this course is going to be extremely high quality. I'm going to break down what is necessary to know as a beat maker to play the piano. You guys are going to learn improvisation. You guys are going to learn, chords, keys, scales, and how to actually use them from a beat maker's perspective. Okay, so, because again, if you compare a beat maker to a classical piano player, there's a lot of differences, which I'm going to be covering further on into this course. Okay. So again, this is like the new updated version. The previous course received tons of 5-star reviews, like countless 5-star reviews. It's been my best seller out of all of my courses I've ever created. I currently have, 22 courses, and it's continually growing. But this course right here, it was by far my best seller. And now, since I have the new equipment, I just kind of wanted to give it an update, as well as give you guys practice examples so that you guys can kind of get up and running quicker. Now, I can promise you by the end of this course, you guys will be able to improvise on a piano. And what that means is being able to just create, melodies and loops on the fly. Because as a beat maker, that's key, right? But I can only get you so far. And what I mean by that is it is up to you to practice, okay? So I can reveal the information of what is required as a beat maker behind this piano, but it is up to you to practice, because the whole key behind improvisation on a piano is muscle memory. You have to know what notes you're allowed to play at what time, with what chords, so that you can, literally just sit here, play the keys, and improvise and just create something beautiful on the fly, okay? So as we proceed throughout this course, you guys are going to learn how to play the piano as a beat maker. Again, this was my best-selling course for the first version, but now we're the new, updated with all the new gear. I'm really, really excited. We have tons of stuff to cover. So, I've broken it down pretty similar to the first version of this course, but I'm just going to go more in depth, again, with higher quality here. We're going to talk about like the differences between beat makers and classical piano players, and why, if you're trying to learn the classical route, you're doing it wrong as a beat maker, because, there's a lot of similarities. Like, yes, we're playing a piano, the notes are the same, the chords are the same, the timing for the most part is like the same. All that stuff is very, very similar. But in a sense of how we use the piano as a tool to create melodies is a lot different. We're going to talk about, how a piano works. When you actually look at this piano, what are you looking at? What's important to know as a beat maker, okay? Such as like the notes, octaves, keys and scales. We talk about like your hand and like the numbering of your hand, and we break down chords. We talk about, even further, keys and scales further. We actually break down a major and a minor scale, revealing to you how this stuff works. I teach you how to kind of make practicing fun, how to set yourself up so that it's more enjoyable, because really practicing is never fun. But if you can kind of make it a little bit more fun, you will find yourself practicing more, and again, building that muscle memory. And then we kind of get into a section of like learning and interaction. So I break down a concept, and then I'm going to give you guys an example to practice on, okay? We have a couple videos of that stuff. So that you guys can really, take the time out, after you're done watching that one video, you can actually try the technique, practice it. And again, when you take this course, it isn't something, just don't just watch it in one day. Come back to this course and just keep, listening to what I'm telling you so that you can learn this piano, again, from a beat maker's perspective, so that you can learn improvisation. It's really, really amazing once you learn it. Just a little background on myself. I actually took, so when I was really, really young, I took some piano lessons, okay? But it taught me how to read sheet music. And I found it so boring, okay? And as a beat maker, it's like, that has helped me a little bit. And I say that because now I'm able to understand like the notes, in a sense of C, D, E, F, G, all that stuff. Like I understand that a little bit more than maybe just someone just coming into music production with no music history at all. But in all honesty, it really kind of more just taught me how to count beats and stay in time, as well as the notes. But as far as that's honestly as much as I learned. So in my later years, I got into music production, and I was able to kind of, if you find so far, if you hit the white notes, you'll be able to start playing some kind of chords, and you're like, oh, it sounds good. But as soon as you start trying to add in the black keys, you're going to be like, I'm confused. I don't know how I can add these in. And this is where keys and scales come in. And that's where I'll break it down for you into the course. It's really, really eye-opening. And once it's revealed to you, it's just like, whoa, okay. Now it's kind of like that stepping stone, okay? So down my street, there was actually a lady where I took about 2 or 3 lessons when I was older. I was probably producing for about 2 or 3 years. And she revealed to me just how chords and keys and scales and stuff worked. And I was like, oh, well, now I know what notes and, chords I'm allowed to play. And it's like, now I know what I can play. And it's a huge difference because when you go to make that beat, knowing the notes you're allowed to play, now it's just a matter of just creating a melody. Okay, so it's not so much about trying to find out what notes you're allowed to play, because now you already know the notes you're allowed to play. Now it's just a matter of trying to find a melody over top of whatever's going on. Trust me, it's a huge game changer as you proceed. Okay, so again, that's kind of like the learning and interaction section about counting beats, practicing scales, inversions. These are really, really powerful things to learn and practice so that you guys can just flow on this piano. And then we actually get into a section of actually learning how to play the piano when you're making beats. Okay, so for example, I talk about how to just use like the right hand, how to just use like the left hand, how to use them together. Okay, because again, by the end of this course, you will be able to play with both hands, improvisation. I'm not saying that you're going to be amazing, because that's up to you for muscle memory to practice. But you'll learn from a beat maker's perspective. Like I'm talking inside of FL Studio, we're going to be building like a little drum loop. I'll start adding this piano over top of it, and you guys will actually see how I add this piano into the beat and how we can kind of add stuff in for a groove, make it sound a little bit fresher for the listener, so it's just not so static and blocky feeling. Okay, so that's actually going to be a pretty big section about learning how to actually play the piano to make beats. Okay, we talk about different chords, timings, and rhythms. Again, how to use like your right hand, how to use your left hand, how to use them both together, and then we kind of just reflect on the things that we've learned and just different kind of tricks you can use for that. And then finally, again, I just talked to you about how to practice efficiently, how to make yourself want to practice. And it's just all about setting yourself up in the right way so you can enjoy practicing. Okay, so if you guys want to learn the piano from a beat maker's perspective, my first course has been like my best seller. It's been amazing. Now with all this new gear, as you can see, when I hit keys, I've set it up like this. Once we get into FL Studio, I'll break all this stuff down for you. You guys will be amazed if you're new to music production and you're wanting to learn the piano. I'm telling you, I promise you, you guys will learn how to improvise on a piano. It's the biggest thing as a beat maker. But again, I can only get you so far. Okay, I can teach you the knowledge, but you're going to have to practice. But trust me, once this is revealed to you, music production becomes a lot easier, and then it's just a matter of finding the right melody rather than trying to figure out even how the piano works. Okay, so that sounds interesting. You guys can enroll. I'll talk to you guys inside the course so that you guys can learn how to improvise on the piano from a beat maker's perspective, not a classical piano player's perspective.